Today, I want to tell you how I lost my faith.
Really, my deconstruction started when God started to fail me years ago.
I have my issues with Jesus. There's a lot of stuff I went through that I prayed and I didn't see Jesus show up. So I had to put my experience in this world, my experience with my children, my experience with other people, my experience with my account, my experience with my brand, and my experience with the level of music that I was dealing with in my own hands. You know how many threats we've been dealt with? And I didn't pray my way through them threats either. I had to get up and do it myself. I had so much to do. I ain't had time to pray. Mm-hmm. So that's who my issue is. And look at where I'm at today. That's another thing I don't like in Christianity, the fear of God. Because you place one fear, you get another fear, you get another fear. What do you have at that point? You're easily controllable. You're easily sellable. You're easily contracted because you have this fear on you. Like everybody gonna die eventually, but I'm gonna live my entire life with zero fear. Ain't nobody finna tell me, tell nobody around me, play with nobody around me. Every label can be contract, any type of phone calls. We number one.
Ultimately, the goal of Christianity is to save you, not to serve you. The problem is, most people these days, especially in this society, they come to religion not to worship God, but for God to worship them. We become so privileged and self-centered that we expect the creator of all things beyond the limitations in the sphere of creation to serve us. Where have you ever seen a CEO serving its employee? The creation will always be subject to the creator. Most Christians these days, though, they look at religion and the church and Christianity and Jesus as this pill you just pop, and then all of a sudden all your troubles and worries will be gone. It's self-serving. They just want this quick fix to life, and all of a sudden, if I give this all up to Jesus, that means I won't have any other problems, and that means I'll be cool and my life will be all good. That ain't how it works, my friend. Because to serve God requires the entire devotion of you, meaning you have nothing to offer the Creator. The main goal and purpose of Christianity is to completely evolve to a different and higher version of yourself, born again to a new creation. And you can't do that on your own merit. Look, sorry to say, but Christianity ain't about money. That's why you see so many prosperity preachers out there deceiving all these people in their congregations, and that feeding them dreams, and it preys on people's desires. But God never said anything about money. As a matter of fact, it says that money is the root of all evil. So why would it give you something which can destroy you? And that's why you see so many people in the modern world really trying to, as if it's like some fad diet that they just take and all of a sudden they lose weight. And all of a sudden all their problems will go away. That's why you see people like Kanye West, Young Don recently, and others alike turning away from Christianity because they dipped their toes in it and all of a sudden they don't want it anymore. Just like anything else that is worthwhile, it requires time. It requires real effort. Look, you're not going to get a degree in a few months. It requires time, patience, dedication, and devotion to your craft. In order to see the truth in anything, you're going to have to put time and effort into it. God is a frequency that you have to tap into, a heightened experience and existence of consciousness that you may never achieve on your own. It's something that you have to constantly wrestle against and work towards, molding yourself into a good and virtuous person. That's how you can meet God. And people always say that like God ain't real, especially in Christianity, and that I ain't seen him nowhere. When was the last time you've done anything good to this world, to others, or even yourself? That's where you find God, in the goodness, in everything that is virtuous and righteous. Now, I implore you, if you don't believe in God, that's okay. But try it for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, for 5 years, however long you are strong enough to hold it. Try to do good. Do good within yourself, do good with others, your friends, family, and then eventually to the world around you. Make the right choices. Abide by the principles and the path that Jesus paved. See where it leads you. You can't expect to find the good in God if you've never lived the good in you. It requires a ton of that. Then when you operate at that heightened frequency of positivity and goodness and righteousness, That's when you become separated from the world. When you become separated from the world, you become holy. That's what it literally means, to be holy. It means to be separated from the world. Then that's when you start to see real, genuine power. Things that heal you, things that enlighten you, knowledge and wisdom that you would have never possibly achieved on your own. But you're going to have to work your way through it like in anything else. You're not going to be a black belt in martial arts overnight. It requires years and years of dedication, overcoming struggles, strife, and many different obstacles along the way. Because ultimately, the goal of Christianity is to save you, not to serve you. It doesn't abide by your own rules. It has a specific path in order to have salvation. It doesn't care what you like. It doesn't care what you want. It cares only about what is good for you and what is best for you. And you don't know that yourself. You can try to live a life acting and thinking that you know what's good and what's best for you, and see what life you get, where life takes you. You go on dates thinking that you know who the best person for you is. Go ahead. Let's see how many divorces you have. If not, then that's great. But you're going to have to let life speak for itself. And you act as if life doesn't exist. You act as if life doesn't have its own accord, doesn't have its own say. Life has been here and has existed way before you ever lived. So life has its own rules. And you best abide by it if you want to live a good life. And God's word is that which leads you to a good life. Now your failure to abide by the rules of it and apply it properly in your own life, that's your own fault. That's not the Bible's fault. That's not God's fault. That's yours. Your mistake and your shortcomings. And it's time to take responsibility for your own life. Don't just blame it on God. And just because you ain't doing it right doesn't mean it's God's failure. Because the truth of the matter is that it is yours. It's you that's failing. It's you that's not fulfilling God's path. And the root of it, that's what Christianity is. It's accountability. It's holding yourself accountable for everything that you do, because you are obliged to follow a higher order, a rule and principles of life that is separate from the world, but ultimately will lead you to a better life. But it's tough though. It goes against all our human nature. Being a Christian and everything that it says, yes, it leads to a good life. Yes, it leads to a virtuous and happiness and peace. But that's so tough, because it goes against our human nature. We have to change ourselves entirely, internally, before we even achieve any of those. And that's where most people fail. They just believe that, you know what, I can just be a Christian and that's it. No, being a Christian requires a ton of work. Following God's path, that's difficult, because you're going to have to go against the grain, and you're going to have to go against the rules of the people, the world you're living and abiding. You're going to have to push beyond it and challenge the boundaries they set upon you to free yourself from the box, so to speak, and think outside of it. And when you become a Christian, when you go to the path of Jesus, your path to enlightenment is going to be riddled with struggles. And as a matter of fact, aim for the lighthearted, because once you become a Christian, you dedicate yourself to a path of enlightenment. And where the light goes, the shadow follows, meaning you're going to have a ton of dark times that will challenge your character, your faith. I dare you, try it. Try to follow this path. It's the most difficult thing you will ever endure, because there's going to be so much struggle that will test you. You will see the enemy come to life. And sometimes it's hard to see the light, but the darkness is everywhere around you. That is undeniable.
Essentially, I stopped fighting cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when you believe something to be true, but then you receive evidence that contradicts it, and you just ignore that evidence.
So if he's an atheist now, we just have to ask the obvious question here. What is evidence outside of a Christian worldview?
As in the case with this young Don, he wants to follow the world. By all means, do so. But the game of the world and the rules of it is to be better than others. The rules of Jesus is to be better than yourself. If you abide by the rules of the world, it's inevitable that you operate within a structure of superiority, having better cars, earning more than others, being followed more, being liked by others. You know, this is where we judge people. It's about how many followers do you have, how much money you got. All of these things contributes to the structure of superiority, meaning being better than others. Whereas in Christianity, you operate in a structure of humility, meaning who is the best amongst you is the good amongst you, is the most humble, kindest, caring, most generous, and most forgiving. These are the standards of Christianity in the path that Jesus paved and which we abide by. It's a completely different rule. Now you may think that like, yo, Christianity sucks. That means you earn nothing, you get nothing. But look, God doesn't give you what you want. He turns you into something that you can never become on your own. That's the gift of God. To rise above your limitations, to transform you into a completely new being, an enlightened spirit, to come to that realization and to that existence of your consciousness that you are the best of you. God may not give you accolades, money, fame, success, financially, titles and fames. That's because all of those are vain. They fade, and when you die, they leave with you. You'll be remembered for a few years, but after a while, everyone will forget about you. No matter how much money you've earned, it'll all go away. It'll all fade. No matter how much fame you got, they'll all forget. So what is it all for? Nothing. So God doesn't want you to have nothing. He wants you to have something that is genuine, that's true, that you can keep all throughout. And the only thing you get to keep all throughout your life, in this and into the next, is who you are, your character, your spirit, your personality. And those are all developed through the darkness and the challenges we face in life. So God doesn't want you to have cars, because a car can only even drive on land, can't even go on water or air, unless we have flying cars in the future. But it's limited. But God doesn't want to limit you. He wants you to be limitless. So He wants you to fly into the next. And He does that by offering us the best version of ourselves. You get to exist and walk with the best version of you, the friend you've always wanted. You get to hold that within yourself. So even if you go through life into the next and eternity and you walk alone, you'll never be on your own. Because within you, you hold the best version of yourself. And you can always pull out that light within you and hold it even in the darkest nights. God wants you to be good. He wants you to be beautiful. Having money, cars, fame, that doesn't equate to none of that. It doesn't equate to true fulfillment and happiness in life. Look around you. Look at everyone who has all of these things. Look how miserable their life is. Look at all the terrible things they live with. The trauma they put themselves under. Look how broken they are. God doesn't want you to be broken. He wants you to be made whole, full of life and full of beauty. He wants you to right your wrongs, to find the light within yourself, even in your darkest times, and to find beauty even when things get ugly. Ultimately, that's the greatest gift of God, to get to know who we truly are, to see the reflection of ourselves, our best self. We can't buy that. Not with money, not with titles. You can only do that if you look deep within yourself. And that's what God offers you. So for young Don, he probably won't be watching this, but if he's watching this, I wish him nothing but the best. God bless a new journey. Know this, God is the same now, and He will be at the end of your journey that you're taking now. So in 5 years time, 10 years time, however long it may take, once you come to the end of that and you become the person who you are, by that time, God will still be the same person that you left Him at right now. God is the same all throughout. Find peace in that. And for every Christian that's attacking them, this and that, look, man, you got to answer to your own mistakes too. So best be focusing on your own life. Don't disparage anyone else just because you think they're doing wrong. That's up to God. It ain't your right. God never gave you the power to sentence. So why judge? Just live your life as best as you can. And I'm sure you got your own mistakes too. And it's time to right your wrongs. Focus on your own mistakes and live and abide by God. Because your relationship with God is the thing that matters the most. And only He knows who you are. And you need to only answer to Him. Nobody else. The understanding of people. And I think that's what we're missing in this society nowadays. In that everyone has their own season. Everyone has their own time. A time of questioning and a time of answering. This is young Don's time of questioning. So let him question. Life will speak for itself. And for all the Christians out there, whether you're new, young, old, whatever it may be, if you read the Bible, you haven't read the Bible, focus your life entirely on God and walk upon the path that Jesus paved. Live your life as best as you can in the way of God. Love as much as you can. Care for as much as you can. Forgive as many as you can. For once you do these, then you walk side to side with God, and He will never abandon you. As long as you hold on to Him, He will never break your promises. He will never leave you nor forsake you. And for any other religion, whether you be a Muslim, whether you be a Jew, Sikh, Buddhist, whatever it may be, follow your God and your religion as best as you can. Live and love in it. Don't just do it for a year or two. Dedicate your entire life and do it well. When you do it well, you'll find what you're looking for. But you have to find devotion in the divine. Thank you for watching another episode of The Third Eye. I'm Thirdy, helping you see life in plain sight. See you in the next one. Peace.